number one most important thing before you focus on the physical is to focus on shortening your punches. Right? It has to do with your technique, keeping things short. It's going to be more important than actually having that fast twitch muscle fiber. So when I always teach the team, I always point to Chris Washington, the way that he throws his jab. A lot of people, when they throw their jab, they bring it back or they bow and arrow their right hand. If your hand, it doesn't even matter where your hand is. If it's right here, if it's right here, you can let that jab go just by pushing off that back foot. That's why I put so much focus on stepping into the jab. If the guy's face is an inch away from your hands and you're trying to throw that jab, a lot of people are just used to throwing from a foot long distance, so they give themselves that, they artificially give themselves that distance. The target's right here, bam, bam, you know, but that's not what I want to see. I want to see you just turn turn your wrist over and push into that back, push off your back foot and snap that jab. You know, I mean, one person I can point to is Bruce Lee, his 1-inch punch. The reason why he had power is really coming from his legs. It had nothing to do with how far he could do anything with his upper body, right? And he kept that punch really short. And then when you learn to do that, you kind of learn how to sync your feet with your hands, right? So a lot of times when you really do all this and your punch comes out later than you've turned your hips, you might be throwing harder. You're not really in sync, and you're not really throwing as hard as you possibly could be. So the biggest thing for me for speed is just shortening up the punch. It makes a bigger difference than actually working speed itself. So a drill that we can do for that is when you throw your jab, try to throw it short. Sometimes I even have people, just for demonstration on the bag, their hand is almost outstretched, their backhand is up, and they're just pushing off that back foot to see how much power they can generate only off the back foot, and know that they can throw that punch really, really short. You don't have to do all this. It just comes off the back foot. And then eventually, you know, you throw it from a normal distance, but you're syncing your hands with your step. Yeah. Right? So let's go ahead and work on just throwing a short jab. If your hand was out here, you can still turn it without bringing it backwards.
I remember doing this drill with you, Ian, and it really did help a lot. Even just the first introduction, it kind of gets your mind thinking about the different ways to throw and how to get more speed. If you have a bag or some target, I think that's really useful to kind of feel the power that you're throwing. Yeah. But yeah, this is a great drill.
Cool. One thing that I learned pretty quick when throwing a double jab, you can bring in between the jabs, you can bring it back to your face, but a lot of times it's that second jab and that second step that gets them. So sometimes it's just jab and you bring it a lot shorter. You don't bring it all the way back because the next one's out immediately, right? So a double jab, I'll do it slow. It can come here and then just bring it back a little bit, not all the way back, and already start stepping into the next one. The next one's in their face immediately. So let's keep that, the focus of having the second jab be short when you throw that double jab. Okay.
And the way to do this, I know some people, if they're a little bit fresher, a little bit more of a beginner, the way to do this is you have to get momentum from your back foot for both of the jabs. So you have to step into it, go back, step into it again, but quick, kind of just a quick transfer of weight.